Big day today here at the Strathcona District offices, and this is Go Island. I'm Mary Ruth Harris, and you're watching Shaw TV's Go Island on Channel 4. Today we are in Campbell River at the Strathcona District offices for a really big event. The event is the signing of the agreement between the Federal Transport Ministry and the Strathcona District for control, more or less, of 3 different wharves. One is the Port Neville Wharf up here above Hardwick Island, over here the Owen Bay Wharf on Sonora Island, and this one on Reed Island, the Surge Narrows Wharf. So what's going to happen is that they're going to have a signing ceremony between Transport Canada and the district, and control and financial support will be turned over to the district. It's going to be a 10-year deal. It is fantastic, especially for the people that live on those islands and that use those wharves. So that's all coming up in today's show, but right now we're going to start here in Campbell River with Marjorie. You're watching Go Island on Shaw TV's Channel 4. I'm Mary Ruth Harris. Today we are in Campbell River at the Strathcona District offices, and some officials are starting to gather, getting ready for the signing ceremony, turning over control and maintenance and money for the wharves that we identified earlier. So we have interviews coming up with Strathcona Chair Abram. We have an interview with a Strathcona District individual who's going to talk to us about the day-to-day operations, and also a local person who actually lives on Reed Island who's going to talk to us about what it means to them to have control of their wharf back from Transport Canada. But coming up first, we're going to check in down in the Comox Valley. Have a look.
This would be me.
This is the real McCoy, so there you go, you're getting a big pack of money there.
Thank you very much.
Good luck in putting that to good use here.
Okay, I will certainly figure something out. It's Christmas coming up. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm Mary Ruth Harris. Go Island is on location today in Campbell River at the Strathcona District offices for the big signing, and the big check has now passed hands from Transport Canada to the Strathcona District. Fantastic. Coming up, interviews with Russ Houghton-Spiller, as well as Jim Abram, Chair of the Strathcona District. Coming up first, this. I'm Mary Ruth Harris. You're watching Go Island on Shaw TV's Channel 4. We are at the Strathcona District offices. Joining us now is Chair Jim Abram. Big day today.
Big day.
Came with the big check.
Yeah, that was the nice part, the big check. $3 million for 3 wharves that are extremely important to my constituents, because that's the area that I represent, where those wharves are. Even though I'm a chair of the board, these are the people that I represent, and they use those wharves daily to do everything they do, you know, to go to work, to play, to do whatever. And without them, they would have been basically cut off completely. And that was not the idea when Canada was opened up on the West Coast.
Right.
You know, we have ferry service, we won't talk about that. But we also have wharves that are, we have 2 types of wharves. We have small craft harbor wharves, which are Department of Fisheries and Oceans, and we have Transport Canada wharves, and that's what we're talking about today.
Right.
And those wharves are for the movement of people and goods. That's real simple, you know, and that's what we do with them. We move people and we move goods, and people do it, like I say, every day. They bring their goods in and out, their groceries, their building supplies, their kids to school, school, whatever needs doing, going to the doctor. It all happens on those wharves. Usually it's small boats, and they're just essential.
How long has this deal been in the works?
Well, this particular deal, because our regional district has only been in existence for 4 years, roughly, or even 6 years, you could say it's been in the works for 6 years, but actually we've been working on it for 14 years. We started when we were part of the Strathcona Regional District. The negotiators changed about every month. We didn't get very far. We had 9 wharves, I believe, that they were trying to unload on us, and with not very much money. I think around $1 million for 9 wharves.
For 9?
Yeah. And so eventually we exited the system. And when they came back with a more reasonable negotiation team and started talking to us about a smaller grouping of these 3 main wharves that are actually used very well, the discussions were quite different. They were about how do you use them, what do you use them for, what kind of shape are they in, how much work do they need, and what's going to really cost to run them. That was the big one, because they're expensive. They really are. You put stuff in the water, in the salt water, and it gets eaten up by teredo worms and all kinds of things. So when they came around and said, okay, we've done our work, technical work, you've done your technical work, and guess what? They pretty much agree. We talked the fine details of the dollars, and we came up with what we felt was a fair deal for 10 years, and you saw this passing of the check. So, it's finalized today.
You have at least a dozen witnesses, so they can't.
Yes. Well, and I asked these people from the areas to actually be here to witness what's happening in their communities, because, a lot of stuff that goes on in the far-flung reaches of the regional district, people hear about 6 months later, and in this case, I really, really wanted people to see what we do, how we do it, and what the benefit of this particular deal is going to bring to them. And they've been right there with us, working on it. So.
Well, thank you so much for your time and for your 14 years of work that you've put into this. That's extraordinary. So
thank
congratulations.
you very much for your time. Thanks.
All right. We are going to take a short break. We will be right back. I'm Mary Ruth Harris. You're watching Go Island. We are still in Campbell River at the Strathcona office and district office, and now it's full of people and activity. The signing has happened, and now joining me is the Strathcona district representative, Russ Hodson-Pillar. Russ, what does this mean on a day-to-day basis for operations?
This signing will be quite significant for our regional district. This will be one of the, probably the second largest capital holding we have, these facilities, and as most people know, any sort of marine infrastructure, it wears out, it needs constant attention, so we'll really be ramping up our ability to maintain these facilities as long as we possibly can, and outreach to the community to help us do that.
Okay. Who in your office is going to be the hands-on person?
Well, we've got, it's going to be interesting. We put together about a 10-year plan and looking at the capital, so those are the big pieces of these facilities we're going to replace over time. And what we're really going to do is go out to contract, probably within local communities, to have us assist in some of the day-to-day operations. Okay. And the regional district engineer is going to be the person who does most of the day-to-day management of those contracts.
And so you'll be working with people who live in those communities?
Yes, I think that's going to be the way that this is going to be successful.
Okay. How long has this been worked on?
Altogether, I think this is the second or third round of negotiations around these facilities. I know I was involved early on in 2002 with, I think it was 11 different federal wharves. Half of them were DFO, small craft harbors, and the others were Transport Canada Canada. So that's 14 years or so, or 12 years since this was first negotiated. There's been 2 rounds since, so it's been quite a while.
And how many more wharves are still out there that are still under federal jurisdiction?
Well, you'd have to ask the federal representatives here. I think in our regional district there's not going to be many left.
Okay.
I know that the small craft harbors were taken over some of the small harbor authorities that we have in the area from the DFO side of the equation, but from Transport Canada I believe that this is it. Okay. And I think nationally they only have 35 or so left. You'd have to check with them, and this is sort of 3 more that aren't on the books anymore. So they've gone to local control.
All right, yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you so much. Good luck with this.
Right.
We keep us in the loop as to how it evolves, because as those new wharves get built, it would be really great to go over and see sort of what's going on.
They're fascinating pieces of, they're working wharves right now, but they also are a real touchstone to, maritime history in this region. In Port Neville, the post office that was there, there's some fantastic historic buildings, but there's also vibrant communities. So we intend to do the best we can with them.
Awesome.
Good.
All right, we're going to take a short break, but we will be right back. Don't go anywhere. I'm Mary Ruth Harris. You're watching Go Island on Shaw TV's Channel 4. Joining me now is Mark Snubley from Reed Island. Did I say that right?
Correct.
Okay. So, Mark, what does this mean to the people that live on Reed Island?
The docks on Reed Island, it's quite a big deal. We don't have a ferry where we live. We all have our own boats, so without the public wharves, it would be a real chore to exist out where we do. Evans Bay Wharf was divested a few years ago to the regional district, and Surgeon Arrows is our other public wharf, which has now been divested as well today. So we're quite happy the regional district was willing to take these on. If the local government hadn't been willing to take these docks on, we would have had to try to run them as a sort of a private enterprise. We wouldn't have been able to keep them open to the public because the insurance costs would have been so high. So we are very grateful the regional district was willing to step in and help with this divestiture and keep them public.
Now, on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis, what sort of role will the residents of Reed Island play in the operational side?
Well, when the Evans Bay dock was up to be divested, when we first found out about it, there was some concern that it might go to private enterprise. We weren't sure. Negotiations had been started and then broke down a little bit with the regional district. So we started a Reed Island Access Society to help liaison with the regional district and the federal agencies to make sure that we could keep it public and keep it managed in a fashion that makes sense. We have some local knowledge to impart, and we've been taking care of our old dock for a long time, so we're looking forward to seeing a few upgrades and getting it brought up to snuff.
So you'll be working with the regional district in sorting out who's going to oversee the construction and upgrades and...
Absolutely. We just had a meeting yesterday out at the Evans Bay dock to get back on track with our upgrades. The dock was divested with some funds as well, like these ones were, and the float there has got to be over 85 years old, and we're looking forward to having a new one and a ramp in the near future. And we've already done some work ourselves locally on the approach to keep costs down and make the money go as far as possible to make these public facilities as good as they can be for a long time.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
No problem. You're welcome.
I'm Mary Ruth Harris. You're watching Go Island. We've been on location today in Campbell River at the Strathcona District offices. Transport Canada, since 1996, has divested 490 ports, 3 more today here to the district, so that the people on those outlying islands can get back to and from their island to the main island for supplies, doctor appointments, schooling, anything that they need to do. So congratulations to Chair Jim Abram for 14 years of work in making this happen. Now, you guys out there have a fantastic weekend, and we will see you on Tuesday.